Hello and welcome to today's episode. I've got Coops here behind me, which is the R32 Skyline. We're going to go through the RB20 today and figure out why that's not loving life. It's running very rough, so hopefully we can figure that out rather easily. If you don't know the history of this car, take a look at one of the previous videos. Sort of explains my history with the car and also why it's called Coops. We're going to go through, pressure test the cooling system, figure out if it is indeed a blown head gasket. Also do compression tests on all the cylinders, change out spark plugs, do a general service. Hopefully that's going to fix the car up and she's going to run beautifully. But if not, we'll have to dive into some bigger issues. So let's grab this coolant pressure tester, figure out if this head's going to have to come off or not. Well, I've got the pressure test kit here. It is a pretty cool tool to have. This one I stole from Dad before lockdown started. Pretty much you put the right size radiator cap on, connect up this hand pump, then you pump it up to a pressure that's similar to what you would get driving around with an engine that's all warming up to temp. So that's what we're going to do. Hopefully we're going to hear some drips on the ground, which might be a hose leaking. If not, and it's still losing pressure, it's probably leaking inside the engine, which isn't going to be good. So moment of reckoning, let's chuck it on, figure out what the problem is with this engine. Well, I'm bloody stoked. Left the car under pressure for about 15 minutes, came back to a nice little puddle of water underneath it. Don't think I've ever been this stoked to come back to a car that's got a pool of water under it, but in this case I'll make an exception. Turns out it was this hose here, the other end of it that goes under the intake, was leaking, so it's not a super easy fix because it's in a bit of a pain of a spot, but hell of a lot better than doing a head gasket change, so I'm going to take that one as a win. Unfortunately, I don't have the right hose to fix that at the moment. It's going dark outside, so what I'm going to do instead, pull out these coil packs and change out the spark plugs. Probably also do a compression test at the same time to see how the health of the motor's going on that side of things. And I'll just fucking throw my GoPro. Well, this plug's definitely seen better days. Ceramics off it. The bottom end doesn't look very nice either, so this is going in the bin. Hopefully the new plug is going to make the car run a bit better than this one would. Well, that's the compression test done. Honestly, I'm actually pretty happy with the results, considering it's an engine that's nearly as old as me. So we've got 110 to 120 seems to be about the average. Cylinder number 5, a tad low at 104, so that could be a little bit better, but still not bad for the age of the engine. These RB20 seem to get most of their compression from boost anyway, which is why they're useless off boost, so I'm pretty happy with that. Got new spark plugs in there now. Let's see if that fixes some of the idling and revving issues. Well, it still runs like garbage, so time to figure out where else the issue lies. Morning all. Well, I'm back out in the shed because we're still in lockdown here. Quite frankly, there's nothing else to do. So, going to keep working on Coops. Before I do though, I thought I might quickly ask you guys for your opinion. GTR wings on GTSTs, yay or nay? I've obviously got a GTST wing on Coops at the moment, the one that came with the car. But I also happen to have this. This I found in the long grass out the back of Todd's. I think it actually came off his missile from when it was actually a clean street car. It's very heavy and it's come apart in a way that makes me think that it's genuine. This bracket's mostly rusted away because it's been sitting outside, but this leads me to a conundrum. Do I fix up the GTR wing and put it on Coops? Or do I keep the GTST wing on it? I'm not really sure, I'm not really sold either way. I kind of think the GTR wing does look a bit better, but then I would need to do a third brake light somewhere else on the car. because the GTS-T has it in the wing. So let me know your thoughts. I don't really want to paint this thing all up and then realize that I don't like it as much. So I'm going to chuck some photos up from ones that I've found one way or the other. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. For the minute though, I'm going to give this car a clean, I reckon. It's probably been a long time since it's had a decent clean, judging by all the dust on the roof here and all the leaves under the window. So I'm going to take it outside, give it a bath, and see how that paint comes up once it's been cleaned properly. Well, the car's all cleaned up. Didn't come up too bad actually, but when I wash a car like this, I usually notice more and more issues with it. So that's kind of what's happened. I've noticed that there's a bit of a dent just here and also just up the top there. Nothing major, but I can see that something has slid along this rear quarter at some point. So just a few more body issues to solve. There's more paint missing, or clear coat missing, than I thought. It's all along the top here. And there's also a little bit of rust down in this wheel arch here. So a few more things that you sort of figure out when you wash a car like this. You get to know it a bit better. So I was kind of expecting that, to be honest though. Overall, not too bad. But yeah, definitely needs some paint and body working on it reasonably soon, at least the rust side of things, because nothing annoys me more than rust. So now I need to figure out what we're going to work on next. I've ordered a couple of parts for this car. Don't know if they'll show up in this episode or not, but I'll put it back inside now. I've also got some LED lights. Got these LED fluoros, and I got to say they're a lot better. Hopefully it's going to be a bit easier to do camera work in the garage now that I've got a bit more light. Well guys, welcome to 3 months in the future. It's been a bloody long time since I've had a chance to spin spanners on Coops here. Back during lockdown, I had a good chance to look through the engine side and look through the body side of the car and get an idea of what needs to be worked on next and what our main problems are going to be. The engine side of things, I'm pretty happy with. I think I can fix that up myself. I don't think there's any major issues, just a bit of TLC, and the engine should start running okay. That rear quarter back there though, that's a different story. With the rust and crush damage, there's quite a lot of work that needs to go in to get that all fixed up. So what I'm going to do now that I've finally got a day to work on the car is I'm going to pull out the rear interior. Should give me a good chance to look from the inside at that guard and figure out how bad that rust actually is. What I'm going to do now, push it outside, start stripping down the inside of the car. Well, the car's out the shed for the first time in 3 months. It's got another layer of dust in it in the meantime, but I'll worry about that a bit later on. First thing on the list is going to be get this seat out so I can get into the back. There's a fair few trim in the back that are already knackered, so pulling them out and trying to find replacement parts, even if it's the super expensive Heritage program stuff, might be an idea, particularly those ones around the rear quarter windows. Well, the rear seat's out and it's not looking too bad. I don't think it's been messed with too much back here. You got a lot of the standard sound deadening. There was 2 large sound deadening pads on the back seat here. Only issues I've noticed is this is what the hook's supposed to look like for the back seat. It hooks onto there. That one's alright, but this one is bent and so is this one. So I'll straighten them out at some point. Next on the list is this completely broken bit of trim here that goes around the rear quarter window. And then I can get to this trim here, which is in good condition. So hopefully I don't break too many of the clips trying to get that out. This 90s interior have a tendency to break every single clip when you try to remove the interior trim. So hopefully that's not the case and I can get that out relatively easy. That's the plan. Time to pull it out. Seems a little odd. Nissan had so many washers on this seatbelt bolt. Anyway, I'm not going to question it now. I'll just put it back in. Well, it's starting to make some progress here. I got this interior trim out the way, didn't break any clips, which is pretty much a miracle. Having a look inside there, I can't see too much, mostly because my flashlight died the second that I went to use it, so waiting for that to charge up. What I can see though is this door lock here, the metal around that was replaced at one point in time. I do remember Todd saying that the door didn't close properly and rattled a lot, and by the looks of it they've cut around this door lock, welded in a new piece. The only problem with that is that they didn't actually rust protect on the inside in here. So it's got a bit rusty already, even though it's been a couple of years. So gonna have to do something about that down the track. While I'm waiting for the flashlight to charge up though, I reckon I'm gonna remove this interior trim in the boot so we can get better views. Then I reckon I'll take the taillight off, the bumper, the pod and the side skirt, just so I can get better access, see if there's any other issues that need my attention. There we go. There we go, that's one of them. Well, I pulled the pod off and I can't say I'm hugely surprised to find out there is a lot of rust underneath that. So if you look down here, it was glued on. I think what's been happening is water's been getting in from the top of here, maybe even before they did some repairs to this guard, but that water's got down into the bottom here. And you can see all that rust, hopefully, if the camera decides to zoom in. This guard very much isn't connected at the bottom. Then you also got a decent sized hole over this side too, just to top it off. So that is not very good. It's pretty much the nail in the coffin for this guard here. I can hit it pretty hard now, it really doesn't make a difference. With all the rust that's through the rest of it, and then this entire bottom section, I think we're going to have to get another guard and weld that one on rather than trying to fix this one up. What I'm really hopeful for though is that it's not the same on the other side of the car. I reckon once I pull the side skirt off on that side, I'm going to have to pull this pod off and check that it's not the same issue, because if I have to fix up both guards on this car, I'm going to be pretty disappointed and it's going to hurt my back pocket pretty much, well, pretty much till I've got nothing left. So fingers crossed, hopefully no more rust holes. Well, I don't think these were original, because that is definitely fiberglass. Anyway, off into the pile it goes. Well, the number of rust holes seems to be escalating pretty quickly. We pulled off a side skirt, which I thought was genuine, but turns out it's definitely not. And discovered another rust hole down here. A bit more rust a bit further along, so that's not any good. And is going to be a bit of a problem. This side, it's not great, it's not good, but we're going to have to take the quarter off anyway, and that would have been a part of it, so it's not the end of the world. But it's not making me feel real comfortable about the other side of the car, considering they've got the same side skirts and possibly the same problems. So we're going to discover what's on the other side of the car now. And I got my fingers, toes and everything else crossed that there's no issues, but I really wouldn't be placing bets on that. So I guess it's time to go figure out how much more money on rust repairs we're going to have to do to get this thing back on the road. Well, I pulled both the side skirt and the pod off. There is a bit of rust. You can see it down here. And also on this side of the wheel arch. This bit isn't super surprising though, considering you can see the rust that comes down the wheel arch here, then goes under where the side skirt was. So that's going to cost a fair bit of money to fix up. Obviously, it's going to take a fair bit of time too. So I think where that leaves us, I'm going to go inside because I'm getting sick of the sun. But where that leaves us is it's going to take a long time to save up to get the rust repairs done properly. We're going to do it once, we're going to do it right. It's going to take a little while to do though, so time to probably put Coops back in the shed for a while, save up that cash required to fix it up. That's pretty much where we're up to with the car now. I do have a couple of parts for it already though. I've got a tail light, I've got a bumper and some hoses, so might keep myself entertained by fixing up the engine side of things if it doesn't cost too much in the meantime. But I also need to think about other things like drifting. I blew up Smokey's engine the other week, so that's going into the same pot of money, and there's not much to go around. So going to be a little while before we see this out on the road, but hey, it's not like it's a daily. We've got plenty of time to get things done, so I'll end this one here. Thanks for watching to the end. It's a big help with the YouTube analytics. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Cheers.